David Pastrnak is a Hart Trophy finalist, and on today's episode, we're taking a look back at his amazing season and looking ahead at the beginning of his next era with a massive contract extension kicking in next season. Let's get into it on today's episode of Locked On Boston Bruins.
You're Locked On Bruins, your daily podcast on the Boston Bruins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Bruins fans, and welcome back to the Locked On Boston Bruins podcast. I'm your host, Ian McLaren, and this is a daily show where we discuss all things Spoked B. Thank you so much for making Locked On Bruins part of your day every single day. The podcast is free and available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for all your ticketing needs. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Happy Monday. I hope you all had a great weekend. Mine was jam-packed, and as you can tell, struggling with something today. Is it allergies? Is it a cold? Is it a bit of both? Is it a wedding I went to on Friday night? Basketball I was at with my kid all day Sunday? Mother's Day yesterday? More basketball practice? Who knows? It's everything. It was a bit of a struggle to get out of bed this morning, but here we are talking about David Pastrnak and his incredible 2022-2023, which resulted in a Hart Trophy finalist nod that was announced on Friday. It's the first time that he has been named a finalist for the award, which is given annually to the player judged to be the most valuable to his team. David Pastrnak appeared in all 82 games this season. Career high 61 goals, 52 assists for 113 points with a plus 34 rating if you're into that stat as well. He was by far the best player on the best team in hockey this regular season, at least. And I was very happy to see that he got a nod as a finalist alongside Connor McDavid of the Edmonton Oilers and Matthew Tkachuk of the Florida Panthers. Now, it's McDavid's award to lose, let's be honest, but David Pastrnak very much deserves the recognition that he's receiving after his amazing regular season. He recorded his 15th career hat trick, 60th goal of the season, and 300th goal of his career in a 5-3 win over the Flyers on April 9th. Momentous day. His 15 career hat tricks are second most in franchise history. He was also just one of two players in the NHL to score more than 60 goals this season. Just the fifth player since 2000 to hit the 60-goal mark. Unfortunately for Pastrnak, Connor McDavid decided he didn't just want to be the league's leading point getter this season, but he also wanted to get the Rocket Richard Trophy as well. So he will finish with the most goals, or he did finish with the most goals. Now, again, he led the Bruins in goals, assists, points, power play goals, power play points. Also led the league in even strength goals, game-winning goals, overtime goals, and shots on goal. Just as prolific a player in hockey, second only to Connor McDavid. And I mean, it's really unfair that he's playing in this McDavid era. Otherwise, he'd have another Richard Trophy. He'd have a Hart Trophy and be regarded as one of the elite players in the NHL which he already is anyways, but to have that hardware to back it up really cements you as, a future Hall of Famer. Pasternak's offensive production helped lead the way for the Bruins offense this season. They averaged 3.6 goals per game, second highest in the NHL, second only to, spoiler alert, the Oilers. Speaking of the Oilers, the last Bruin to be named a finalist for the Hart Trophy was Ray Bourque back in 1990. He lost to Mark Messier. In 1987, Ray Bourque lost to Wayne Gretzky of the Edmonton Oilers. Pete Peters also lost to Wayne Gretzky in 1983. Now you can kind of consider Joe Thornton to be the last Boston Bruins player to win the Hart Trophy, although he did it as a member of the San Jose Sharks, of course, after being traded during the 2005-2006 season. The last player to win as a Boston Bruin was Phil Esposito back in 1974. Altogether, an unreal season for David Pastrnak, and it also included the signing of an 8-year, $90 million contract. That's up from his last deal, which was 6 years and $40 million. Now that can't be overlooked right now. Could you imagine if the Bruins had lost to the Panthers in the first round and had not already signed David Pastrnak? We would be in full-on crisis mode while still dealing with these feelings from having lost. But thankfully, he did sign, and he'll now have the 6th highest cap hit in the NHL, pending any further free agent signings this summer, behind Nathan MacKinnon, Connor McDavid, Artemi Panarin, Austin Matthews, and Erik Karlsson. But with great average annual valuation comes great responsibility. We'll talk about some things that maybe didn't go well for Pastrnak and some areas for growth here coming up in a moment. But first, a quick word about one of today's sponsors, which is Athletic Greens. Now, Athletic Greens has a product that thousands use literally every day because they want better gut health, more energy, optimized immune system, and also hated taking pills and vitamins, wanted a supplement that actually tastes good. AG1, you can get 1 scoop a day and absorb 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. Athletic Greens was created when the founder experienced a ton of gut health issues and ended up on a complicated supplement routine that cost about $100 a day. He created Athletic Greens after experiencing how difficult it was to create an optimal nutrition routine on your own. Reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. Just 1 scoop and a cup of water every day. Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Visit athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. That's athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Thank you so much once again for making Locked On Boston Bruins part of your day every single day. The podcast is free and available on your favorite podcast app. Every dayers tomorrow on the show can expect a continuation of our player reviews. We'll keep it on the second line and look at David Krejci. When it comes to David Pastrnak, forgot to mention his playoff performance. 5 goals in 7 playoff games, 0 assists to his credit there. And, goal-wise, you can't argue with 5 goals in 7 games. That's keeping up with his pace from the regular season. The playmaking ability wasn't quite there, and he admitted after the playoffs that he was dealing with a shoulder injury that he suffered in game one. He felt better by the end of the series, said he would have been 100% for game one of round two, but unfortunately, it did hinder him a bit early on. The other big point of discussion this year for David Pastrnak was turnovers, giveaways. He led the NHL in giveaways with 109. But if you look at the top 10, the leaderboard for giveaways is a veritable who's who in the NHL. Evgeny Malkin, Artemi Panarin, Leon Draisaitl, Erik Karlsson, Nikita Kucherov. Mitch Marner's in the top 10. He was a Selke finalist. Jack Hughes, Brad Marchand. McDavid, impressively, was down in 14th. It's going to happen when you are a prolific offensive player and you have the puck on your stick more than the other guys on your team. These kind of guys dictate the course of play. They have the puck on their stick, and you want that. You can't score 60 goals without having the puck on your stick for much of the game. And sometimes it's going to roll off. Sometimes there will be an ill-advised pass. Sometimes there will be a shot attempt that goes off a defender's shin pad and goes the other way. You can't fire a shot like that will be easily blocked, and you need to reduce those high leverage turnovers for sure. This is a area where he can grow. He's being paid like one of the best players in the NHL, and he must maintain that level and improve in the, small areas in which he's not yet at the top of his game. And like I said, some of the best players who turn over the puck a lot, it's because they have the puck a lot. So if you're a primary offensive driver for your team, you're going to have a lot of turnovers. But again, it's reducing those high leverage ones, reducing ill-advised shot attempts that will be easily blocked and taken the other way. Just get pucks in deep. Don't try to do too much at certain times. He's going to be paid like one of the best players in the NHL. And again, he needs to maintain that level. The expectation now is that he will be a 100-point player going forward, that he can repeat this goal production. It's not a one-off thing. You get your contract and then settle back in, but you're being paid as a top 5-6 player in the NHL. You need to put in that work to maintain that level of production for at least 4 or 5 more years. Sure, he might decline near the end, but he's only 26. He'll be 27 next week. So by the time this contract is up, he'll be 35. Brad Marchand putting up 100-point seasons, or 100-point season at least, a couple years ago, well into his 30s. There's no reason why David Pastrnak can't do the same thing. You can also step up leader-wise as well. Talked about that on Thursday with regards to Jake DeBrusk last week. You're not a kid anymore. Patrice Bergeron and David Krejci might be gone, and it's time to step up and be a leader on this team alongside Charlie McAvoy, Charlie Coyle, whoever else is still. And he acknowledged that. He said he feels ready. He said he had the best teachers in Bergeron and Krejci. Incredible people, incredible hockey players. And when you're looking at them, you want to be like them. The stuff they say, no matter how young you are, you want to be like them. He's definitely thankful in the way that he grew as a person and a player thanks to them. And he's excited to take that next step as a leader on the Boston Bruins. So that's encouraging. the big question will be, can he maintain this 100-point production? Can he push for 50, 60 goals once again? He should at least be a 40-goal scorer for the next handful of seasons. And we would love to see that 50, 60 goal production as well. And don't forget, he wasn't carried by anybody else this season. His production was basically independent from who he was playing with. He's not a passenger on the perfection line. David Krejci had a fantastic season, as did Pavel Zacha, but it's not like Pastrnak was dependent on these guys for his goals. He was making things happen out there on his own and an offensive driver for this team, finishing well above the next highest scorer on the Boston Bruins. He had 113 points. Brad Marchand came in second at 67 points. No matter who he was playing with, no matter the situation, David Pastrnak was effective. And just looking at his top line combinations, he played most with Krejci and Zacha. Played a bit with Marchand Pastrnak. Played some with Taylor Hall, Tyler Bertuzzi. He was productive no matter who he was out there with. And the Pastrnak Zacha Krejci line actually was a below 50% when it comes to shot attempt differential. So he was making things happen despite the opposition getting more shot attempts than them while he was on the ice. That's an important thing to keep in mind. We're going to talk about what the future looks for David Pastrnak here in a moment. First, a quick word about our other sponsor today, which is Game Time. Now, Game Time is the ticketing app that you need to get on. It's the fastest growing ticketing app in North America, and it's a fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. They have killer deals on last-minute tickets and a best price guarantee, so you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you will have. They have flash deals, easy to find and buy tickets for every event in your area, images of seat views, and the lowest price guarantee, even event cancellation protection. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Lowest price, guaranteed. Game Time. Get on it. All right. We know, of course, that David Pastrnak will be on the team next season. He signed that contract extension, 8 years, $90 million. He's here. He should be a career member of the Boston Bruins. And he's on track to become the best goal scorer in Bruins history. I talked about this a couple months ago on the podcast. Right now, David Pastrnak ranks 8th all-time in scoring at 301 goals. He's likely going to pass Cam Neely next season. He's 43 goals behind him. He's 244 goals behind Johnny Busick, who sits number 1 at 545. So he needs to average 30.5 goals per season over the course of his 8-year deal in order to match that. Again, he doubled that this season. So if you look at it on a sliding scale, 50, 60 next season, go down a bit. Ideally, he's still popping in 30 at the end of this 8-year deal. So he should not only break the all-time Bruins goal record, but really smash it and set a very high benchmark for any future players on this team. Who he plays with will be a question. Likely to remain paired with Pavel Zacha, with whom he played pretty well this past season. They have some chemistry, they're friends, they have history together. Who will be on his wings? Will they be the number one line this season? Remains to be seen. Could Brad Marchand even be on that line? Marchand, Zacha, Pastrnak is a pretty good first line, so he could be reunited with Marchand. It's all dependent on whether Bergeron and Krejci are back and who they're able to retain or promote or sign on the wings. But pretty much guaranteed he'll be playing with Pavel Zacha, and I hope he I'm going to say it, he's going to get at least 50 goals once again next season. Oops. Anyways, that is it for today's episode, my friends. Thank you so much for tuning into this David Pastrnak year in review episode. Again, apologies for the puffy eyes, the congestion. We've got something going on here, allergy or cold wise or both. And still happy to talk about David Pastrnak and his Hart Trophy finalist. I was going to say finalism, but that doesn't really make sense. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about David Krejci. Later on this week, we'll look at Pavel Zacha, some of the top defensemen, and then move on to third and fourth liners next week. I hope you're all doing well. Conference finals is upon us. Almost. Game 7 tonight. I really haven't watched much. I was at this wedding on Friday night with a bunch of Leafs fans, and not going to lie, I was a bit happy when they did indeed lose, much to everybody else's chagrin. I did commiserate with a fellow Bruins fan at this wedding. Shout out Glenn. We had a good chat about the series. I passed on the news that Pastrnak was a Hart Trophy finalist, and we shared a beverage or two, drowning our sorrows over this missed opportunity for the Boston Bruins. But Pastrnak will be a Bruin for the next 8 years, and hopefully he can lead them to glory. All right, happy Monday. Take care of yourselves, friends. Take care of each other. I'll talk to you again here tomorrow on Locked On Boston Bruins, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your favorite team every single day.